Red Voyage News, splashing the check-in. Thank you for tuning in. And before I get into this article right here, I want to take the time out to promote my Buy Me a Coffee page. If you just click the link in the description box below, you'll be directed to this page. Hover over the support tab, and you can kindly leave a donation if your heart feels the need to. I'd appreciate it. If you like the content, you want to watch this channel grow, you feel like, hey, I like to support the channel, click the link. Minimum amount you could donate is $5. You could donate more if you feel like it. If you would like to become a member, I have videos talking about how foreigners are treated living abroad in different countries, different continents. If you're interested in that type of subject matter, then become a member. $8 a month. All right. Now let's get into this article right here. Under Philippine law, 12-year-olds can consent to sex. Activists are trying to change that. Now, there are a lot of countries in Asia where the age of consent is very, very low. Okay. The Philippines isn't the only country that has the age of consent at 12 years old. This article right here says that, oh, it's the lowest out of all the Asian countries. No, Indonesia, the age of consent over there is 12 years old also. And the thing about this article that they're trying to point out is that, you know, this is a 90-year-old law. People have been fighting since the 1980s to change the law. And in one paragraph, it'll say, in the Philippines, we have about one woman or child raped every 53 minutes. Okay. But in the next article, it says that they've been fighting, you know, lawmakers are now fighting to raise the age of consent to 16, which is standard in many other countries, including the majority of the United States. Now, here's the thing behind that. Which one is it? Is the age of consent too low? Or, you know, the main issue is that children are getting raped every 53 minutes. Yes, both of those are an issue. But what I'm getting at here by what this article is saying is that, you know, from a moral standpoint, you know, these men or whatever that are having sex with children at 12, 13 years old, that's rape. True from a morality standpoint, but according to the law, I'm not from the Philippines. I'm not Filipino. That's not my country. You know, according to your government, according to your law, a grown man, 53 years old, having sex with a 12-year-old, that's considered okay. It's not considered rape if she's giving consent to it. Now, if she does not give consent to it and a man forces himself onto a young girl of that age, or of any woman for that matter, then that's considered rape. But they're making it seem like, okay, this right here, this one child raped every 53 minutes right here, they're making it seem like, okay, if we raise the age limit up to this, then this will go away, or it won't completely go away, but it won't happen as frequently as this. And such is not the case. Such is not the case. And, you know, who wrote this article? Jesse Yuang. I felt like he could have done a better job at conveying this message to the reader. These are two separate issues, but it almost makes it seem like, okay, this issue will go away if we raise it up to this. But according to the law, this right here is the age of consent. Okay. Now, there's another section where it says why some lawmakers don't want to change. An anti-child abuse law passed in 1992 criminalized sex with children under 18 for money, profit, or any other consideration, or due to the coercion or influence of any adult, syndicate, or group. Now, we all know, or maybe you don't know. This is why I'm putting out this article right here, because I'm putting out this video right here because I've been living in Asia for over 7 years now. Over 7 years. I used to live in Thailand. There are a lot of laws in place that the government doesn't enforce, that the police department doesn't enforce, which is a branch of the government, which people don't really uphold. For example, Thailand. We all know about Thailand. We all know about the sex industry in Thailand, the red light districts all over Thailand, Pattaya, Phuket, Bangkok, you name it. Okay. Chiang Mai, you name it, all over. If anybody's ever been to Thailand or knows somebody that's been to Thailand, I used to live in Thailand. When you get there, it looks like, okay, this is wide open. It's open season. You go to the Nana district in Bangkok, they have a place called Nana Plaza. It's like a 3-story, is it 3 or 4? It's like a 3 or 4-story strip. It looks like a strip mall shaped in the building is shaped as a U. Okay. It's like a 3 or 4-story building, and it's just nothing but strip clubs in there with girls with numbers, and guys pay them to have sex with them inside of the strip club. They take them home for the night. It's wide open there. Do you know by law that prostitution is illegal in Thailand? That's why if you look on Bangkok Post or ThaiVisa.com, the news articles that come out of Thailand, every once in a while, especially before COVID, you would have the police department do little raids within Walking Street in Pattaya, Phuket, the Nana district, and they would, quote unquote, investigate any signs of, prostitution activity going on in these areas. And they would always come up, they would always say that, well, we didn't find any sign of prostitution in these areas. And there are just thousands upon thousands, hundreds upon hundreds of comments underneath these articles of men saying BS, 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 especially people who visited and lived there. Like, who the hell did they send in to investigate for prostitution to come back and say, oh, we didn't find any signs of prostitution? You sent the 3 blind mice in there? So because we have anti-child abuse laws here, it doesn't mean that they always follow it. All right. Abused at home. In a 2015 study involving 3,866 Filipino respondents aged 13 to 24, about 3.2% said they had been raped during childhood, and more than 17% of those aged 13 to 17 experienced sexual violence, which includes unwanted touch or having explicit photos or videos taken, said the study conducted by UNICEF and the Philippine government's Council for the Welfare of Children. What this sounds like is like they're not trying to hold the men of the country accountable for their actions. All right. You have the age of consent that low. When you have it that low, you have a lot of predators out here. But at the same time, a young girl that's 12 years old, I mean, that's perfectly legal from the laws that they have here. But it doesn't matter what the age of consent. It could be 12, 18, it could be 25. You still don't sexually harass or rape anybody. What they're trying to say is like, okay, this is way too young. And then you have red light districts all throughout the Philippines. They go on to talk about the sex industry. All right. The red light districts, lack of legal action, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to read this entire article. You have people out there that are trying to fight back against this. And I agree with them. It shouldn't be that young. And there are other countries in Asia who have the age of consent at a very young age as well. I already talked about Indonesia, 12 years old. Israel, 14. China's 14. Japan is 13. South Korea is 13. I heard that up until last year, they changed it to 16. But still, for decades upon decades upon decades, it was perfectly legal to walk around hand in hand, side by side with a 13-year-old girl in South Korea, whether people liked it or not. Syria, 15. East Timor, 14. United Arab Emirates, 14. You got a lot of people going out there to Dubai, don't even realizing that, 14. But, I mean, they also have laws over there stating that if you're even in a hotel or, if you're trying to book a hotel, like they have real strict laws in Dubai that a lot of people don't follow. There's another place with strict laws that a lot of people don't realize that the public just looks over. Cambodia is 15. Where else? And everywhere else, it's saying it's 16. All right. Thailand. Did I mention Thailand already? Thailand is 15. And, another thing is like, compared to the West, a lot of, people that are in high school, because this is the age consent that they have right here, high school children. All right. And people that are in high school in Thailand or Asia, any other Asian country, not just Thailand, but any Asian country, the children that are in high school, they look much younger than the kids that are in high school in America. Now, if you look at throwback videos of people in high school back in like the 80s and the 90s, as a matter of fact, I was on Instagram the other day and they just showed in 1993 at some high school, I forgot where it was just a bunch of young black students freestyling, just rapping, okay? And in the comments section, everybody was talking about how old they look because they did look like they were in their late 20s. Now I'm old enough to know and to remember how people at young ages were given much more responsibility back then, and they were much more mature. You didn't have social media. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have smartphones. A lot of people carried themselves in a much more mature manner, and they look more mature. Besides, you got 15-year-olds today who look 12 in high school. They're much smaller. But when you come out here to Asia, and this is just not my opinion, if you look at the statistics when it comes to height, the average height in different countries around the world, most of the time, naturally, it even shows that in Asian countries, most people rather, are shorter than, I think Indonesia is the shortest country in the world. I think they said the height for the average man out there is like 5'2" or 5'4", something like that. So you got a lot of young kids in middle school, high school that are real short, and they're still growing. They're still growing. So, I mean, they look young. They are young. They look like babies almost. And you have local men that are having sex with these middle schoolers. You got foreigners that are having sex with these middle schoolers, spending the night at a hotel with a middle-aged man from Europe, from Canada, from America. Really, the age of consent is low in these developing countries out here. And that's something that you see often. I remember my first time in Thailand. I was in Bangkok for a couple of days, and then I moved to Chiang Mai shortly after. And I'll never forget when I saw like young girls with their middle school, high school uniforms on the backs, riding on the back of a motorbike, and the driver was like a middle-aged foreigner. Hell, elderly foreigners. And the girl, might have been 15, but she looked 10. And that just blew my mind on how like people just find this normal. It's openly acceptable. In some families, they just let it happen because, it's a developing country. So if he has a little bit of money, at least get some resources from him. He has resources that he could possibly trickle back to the family. So a lot of families will just let it happen. And, I really think this is disgusting, and I really feel like foreigners should check each other when they see this going on, regardless if it's legal over there, But hey, what do you think about it? Like, subscribe, comment, share this video. If you want to make a donation, click the link to the Buy Me a Coffee page. It's in the description box below. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.